Hello and meowdy YouTube! Welcome back to another video. It is I, Saphwyn, the silly Nico VTuber, and today we are doing the complete lore of Poppy Playtime. I know nothing about this game, so it's gonna be a good time. I'm excited to learn about this game. I love learning about video game lore. And let's dive on in. Let me make it a little louder.
What do you need to know before Poppy Playtime Chapter 4? It's been a whole year since the previous chapter, and in the meantime, Mob has done what they do best, giving out more.
So we're getting Chapter 5. January 2026.
More lore than
Easy.
You can shake a mechanical arm at. But don't worry, loyal theorists, because I have played the spin-offs, I watched every trailer, I even read the book. Also, you don't have to. Here is everything you need to know about the Poppy Play timeline.
Bro, that's kind of like
Hello,
creepy.
Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that's ready to take its relationship with Poppy to the next level. We got nothing. No new character, no new trailer, not even a release date. That's right, just like Scott was releasing games so fast Matt couldn't keep up, not 5 minutes before our recent theory dropped, Mob Entertainment released a new trailer with a new character and a release date. 5 minutes?
Shoot.
Are you kidding me? I'm convinced Poppy wasn't brought to life for lore reasons. It was to troll me for all eternity. I wouldn't be surprised if they did the same thing to us this week. Regardless, because of Mob's ridiculous and seemingly never-ending amount of content leading up to Chapter 4's release, it can be a little tricky to keep up with everything. We've had a book, 2 ARGs,
I love when games have in-depth lore like this. Like, I love when they give you the game and then they give you all this side material too that correlates to the game. Like, I love that wombo combo. It doesn't feel the same without MatPat. It definitely doesn't feel the same, but I'm also happy that they continue on the legacy of MatPat with game theory. You know what I mean when I say that?
Roblox spin-off and over
I'm happy.
a dozen teasers and videos. But if you're someone that's only played the games, or you just haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then there's been a whole year worth of story that you would have no idea about going into Chapter 4. So today, I'm going to give you all a hand and fill you in from the beginning with all the important names, dates, and lore Mob has given us, as well as a few theories of our own for good measure, all in one cohesive timeline. Now, this is a big task, so instead of doing this like our usual theories, I wanted to try treating this like our FNAF timeline. It's more story-focused, with references in the bottom corner showing thumbnails, books, titles, basically any citations that I'll be pulling from. I've also got this nifty little traffic light symbol in the top corner to clear things up. Green means what I'm saying are facts that we have physical evidence for, amber means what I'm saying is theory, but it's supported by evidence, and red means it's speculation that makes sense for the story, but we don't have a lot of evidence for. So keep a close eye on your screens, theorists. It's time to analyze the history of this forgotten factory. Just be careful that the screen doesn't...
Wait, I'll put chat on the other side too, so you guys can see the traffic light. There.
Step back. Playtime Co. was founded in the good old US of A in 1930. Quickly, it became one of the most well-renowned toy companies in the world, priding itself in making toys locally instead of overseas like its competitor Mattel. Yes, that Mattel, the ones who made Barbie.
I know exactly where you're going with this, and I have to say, I really resent it.
All of this success was thanks to one man, the founder of Playtime Co., Elliot Ludwig. All he wanted was to bring joy to children.
And this is where it all starts with Mr. Elliot. He's the creator of all evil.
But sadly, that noble goal meant that he spent all of his time at work, neglecting his own family. And his wife had had enough, divorcing him that same year. Nevertheless, Elliot pushed forward, though for 2 decades, he struggled to figure out the key to innovating the toy-making world.
Bro, I think Elliot and William would be good friends, no? If you know, you know.
And finally, he hit a breakthrough. In 1950, Elliot created a toy that would change the world forever. Poppy Playtime.
A little girl can talk to her. Poppy gives her answers. She is the first doll actually able to have a conversation with a child.
Not only that, but her
You know what? If I was a child and I got a doll that could have a conversation with me, I think I would have been terrified of the doll. Like, I do not think I would have want this in any vicinity of mine. I would have been so scared.
It also smelled like poppies, which had been used throughout history to help children fall asleep, making her an instant hit with the parents. How did Elliot
That
achieve
makes
this
sense.
incredible feat? Well, because Poppy wasn't just a plastic toy. Elliot used organic parts to make her, allowing Poppy to really seem alive. He just needed to add a quick no
do you need
refund
organic
policy
parts?
to anyone who tried to fix the Poppy doll themselves, just to keep it under wraps.
What do you mean
Thankfully,
by that?
no one ever discovers this little secret of Elliot's. But Poppy sales alone can't keep the toy company afloat, so they release a handful of
Is this like black market? Like we're taking organs to put in the puppet? Is this what this is?
new toys like Bron the Dinosaur in 1961 or Boxy Boo in 1966, though none of them really compare to Poppy in terms of popularity. But then, out of nowhere, tragedy struck. Since day one, Elliot had been encouraging his employees to adopt, to bring joy to children who had none of their own. And he lived by example, adopting a daughter of his own. Finally, the family that the family man had always wanted, until she passed away before his very eyes. There was nothing he could do to save her. All Elliot could do was take the
that's
biological
sad.
knowledge he had and turn her into another organic Poppy doll, just so he could keep a part of her with him forever,
Okay,
so
this is
part of her
twisted.
could live on. Little did he know how successful that experiment would be. Somehow, his daughter's mind managed to survive the process. Naturally, Elliot is shocked
His daughter's mind managed to survive the process.
by this. His daughter is back, living on inside this doll that he made. He couldn't let her fall out of his grasp again, so he builds a family home inside the factory storage bay and locks her inside a glass
the
case
heck?
to keep her safe. He even adds a passage leading directly to his office so he can visit her whenever he or she wants. With his family now returned to him, his passion to strive for innovation was restored.
But with so much ambition, he rose back up and continued to fulfill his vision for the Playtime Co. toy factory.
this
The
is a little
first
messed
thing he
up.
needed was more people
No, you know what? This isn't even a little messed up. This is fully messed up.
like him. Smart, capable people that could help him continue to innovate and answer the toughest questions the world had to offer. Like, say, how was a child able to live on inside a doll, perhaps? But older minds are harder to shape. He needed people who still had some of that childlike wonder, and thus the Young Geniuses program was born. Elliot sent out flyers and posters similar to that of the time period, trying to gather young minds together to turn them into the scientists of the future, stamped with the logo he'd been using for Playtime since the early days. This attracted many young and bright individuals, including a brilliant, albeit slightly cold young man named Harley Sawyer.
Hi,
Was
Harley.
a peculiar character. He didn't care for his comrades, he hardly smiled, but one thing he clearly loved was science. And
So
Elliot
who's worse, Elliot or William? I don't know yet. I only know, listen, I've only got the Elliot lore for the past 4 minutes or so. Also, sorry, the dog just visited me, so I had to mute my mic real quick. But I only know Elliot for the past 4 minutes. And Elliot kind of seems fucked up. At the same time, you guys have saw the lore of Mr. William Afton. You guys have saw how twisted and deep his lore goes. And they're both on their same level in like a twisted way, you know?
took a liking to this strange boy. He may not have been normal, but neither was Elliot. He saw part of himself in Harley. This was the kind of kid he could take under his wing, mold into someone who could really shape the future, and maybe even catapult Playtime into the stratosphere of success. Unfortunately, that didn't quite work out. Harley never
Womp
lost
womp.
his distaste for others, and while he continued to pursue innovation, he was just doing so to push the boundaries of what could be done, not to help humanity like Elliot envisioned. That being said, Elliot didn't give up. He kept trying to change Harley's point of view, but no matter how hard he tried, it was no use. Harley could not change. Not here anyway. And so Elliot makes the hard decision to kick Harley out of the program, sending him home to the outside world to be
Is this the villain arc? Did you just create a villain arc by abandoning him, by kicking him out? Oh no,
around
oh
more
no, oh
people,
no.
hoping it will help him to
Oh, no.
understand why they do what they do. Harley was
Not villain arc.
destroyed by this news. His hero, Elliot Ludwig, was abandoning him. All he
Oh,
could see Elliot as
no.
was soft, pathetic, and short-sighted, backstabbing him because he was too much of a genius for Elliot to understand. Though it didn't matter now. He had to do what he was told, and so Harley left the program, disappearing from the halls of Playtime Co. At least for now.
Mm-hmm.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
As the years go by, more and more, Elliot feels like it's not really enough to just encourage his employees to adopt. There are still so many children that need a home, much like his own daughter did. And while the Young Geniuses program was good, by taking on young people so late in their childhoods, even they were already stuck in their ways like Harley was. So, in 1976, Elliot announces a new program, Playcare, Playtime's own on-site orphanage, where he can continue to bring joy to children and educate them in the way
Playtime's on-site orphanage? What? What?
they should go, creating a mass
this?
of young, brilliant minds that could help lead the world to prosperity. But while all those programs sound good on paper, and they were well received by the public, they were beginning to cost Elliot a lot of money. Poppy was the last big financial success, and that was over 2 decades ago. But he can't keep innovating in the toy world and run these programs on his own. He would need more staff. So he hires people like Stella Graber to run the Playcare, Leith Pierre as head of innovation, Eddie M.N. Ritterman as the head of research, and Jimmy Roth as the chief marketing officer. Their first assignment...
Why is Jimmy an actual person?
Ritterman as the head of research, and Jimmy Roth as the chief marketing officer. Their first assignment, figure out how to stop the company from feeling, quote, old-fashioned. With all their powers combined, they try to get the company back on top, starting with the release of brand new toys like Candy Cat in 1979.
Candy Cat looks cute. Would buy? Maybe?
They continue to release toys into the next decade. They try...
Bro, this looks like a Neopet. Tell me this does not look like a Neopet right now.
That you could mix and match like Cappy and PJ Pugapilla. They also try Kick Me Paul for some reason, but nothing could quite match the success of Elliot's original Poppy. That was until 1984, when Elliot had another idea. He went to the team, and shortly after, he releases the Blue Boy himself, Huggy Wuggy. Things were looking up. Huggy is such a big hit with the kids, he basically becomes the face of the brand. In the eyes of the public, Poppy was a long-forgotten memory. Long live Huggy! Of course, he has to capitalize off of this success by releasing Huggy's pink counterpart, Kissy Missy, 1 year later. She too is a huge success, just not as big as Huggy, obviously. Playtime Co. is on top of the world at this point. It's almost like they can do no wrong. But sadly, over the next half of the decade, their profits once again decrease. Sure, Huggy was successful, but just like Poppy before, you can't sustain an entire company off of
Huggy better than Poppy, confirmed? Chat, please tell me who your favorite is, Huggy or Poppy.
A single toy. Even if he has a cute pink girlfriend, they needed something new, and one of them had an idea. What if you create a bunch of toys as part of a set? That way, kids aren't buying just one toy, but several. Enter the Smiling Critters in 1989. Similar to Care Bears or Cabbage Patch Kids, these are small, cuddly toys with big personalities, but each...
Bro, what do you mean small, cuddly toys? They look so wild with these big-ass smile of theirs.
One is unique, and so you would need to collect them all for the full experience. This was the perfect way to increase the dropping sales numbers Playtime was facing. Plus, to really capture the same appeal as Poppy and her poppy-scented hair, these critters would each come with their own unique scents, all with calming effects. Crafty Corn smells like jasmine, Bobby Bear Hug like rose. But would calming be enough? Poppy's hair literally put children to sleep. That's what made her such a hit with the parents in the 50s. They needed these smiling critters to do the same. So they get to work developing one more smiling critter. One with the advertised scent of lavender, a scent associated with sleep, but instead of actually using lavender, they would create a poppy gas that would actively put kids to sleep, just like...
Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? What? Why are we clicking so hard over here?
Poppy did. They put the smoke inside the purple cat and gave him a name that tied into his sleepy powers, Catnap. And just to be on the safe side, Playtime Co. also commissions the creation of a Saturday morning cartoon featuring this new cast of characters.
Bro, the worst one is like the cutest one. Why?
Begging Catnap to help them fall to sleep with his red smoke, showing kids and parents alike that this is just what the toy
Who would trust this after watching? No. Who would trust this after watching this commercial? Who watches this commercial, sees Mr. Purple Cat over here blowing out red smoke and goes, yes, I must need it.
Everything is going according to plan. Sales for this new line of toys are great. They are flying off the shelves. Both parents and kids really seem to love these new adorable critters, except for Catnap. After a few weeks, doctors began reporting a rise in children suffering from intense nightmares that all started after they received their Catnap toys. In Playtime's desperation to mimic the sleep-inducing effects that Poppy had, they'd accidentally concocted something that, yes, put children to sleep, but also gave children horrible nightmares. Thankfully for Leaf and the team, no connection was ever proven, but they still needed to save face. They recalled all of the Catnap toys, and Catnap was removed from the Smiling Critters lineup entirely. The Smiling Critters disaster put Playtime Co. in a bad spot. If they were going to survive the next decade, something needed to be done, and fast. And so, Leith Pierre put his head of innovation status to good use and came up with an unusual but effective plan. He hired a private investigator, Jared Lockhart, to track down former members of the Young Geniuses program that Elliot had started decades ago. These people trained under Elliot. They were geniuses from a young age, and most of them had quite impressive careers. If anyone was going to be able to come up with an idea to save this company, it would be one of them. Sometime later, Jared arrives with the list, and when it lands on Leith's desk, there is one option.
Harley is right there. And that's where the foreshadowing comes in. Harley is back.
That immediately catches his eye. Harley Sawyer.
Oh no, he's back.
Oh, boys, I'm back!
This guy was now certified by the American Board of Neurological Surgery. He was, by all accounts, a genius. And with Elliot using biological parts to make Poppy, a surgeon felt like the perfect fit. Leith presents this idea to Elliot for final approval. And while Elliot is hesitant at first, he does remember that Harley was the brightest of the bunch back in the day. And maybe all these years away have taught him the lessons he was hoping he'd learn. Do it. With that approval, Leith reaches out to Harley on January 15th, 1990, giving him an offer to come and join Playtime Co. once again. And strangely, despite the hurt Elliot caused him all those years ago, for some reason, Harley accepts the offer. Immediately, he begins showing the level of promise they were hoping for from this recruit. He sees the problems at Playtime Co., the public outcry, the declining profits, and he came up with an idea that would fix everything.
Giant toys. We can increase our work.
There's no way. There's no way. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What? I don't know how to fix this bankrupt company or soon-to-be bankrupt company. Let's do big toys. Like what?
Workforce and simultaneously decrease the number of lawsuits and people on our payroll.
Wait.
If the people...
Did you say the number of lawsuits? We can increase our workforce and simultaneously decrease the number of lawsuits and people on our payroll. I'm not going to lie. I think we're going to call the shots here. I think by making them all life-size, these lawsuits are increasing.
Payroll. If the people we have working aren't people, put me in charge of it, and I will save this company.
Leith makes Harley head of special projects, and together they begin hiring other scientists to help with the development of the Bigger Bodies Initiative. Some of them are fellow Young Genius alumni like Dr. Bruno White and Dr. Carmine McKay, but others are just young and eager biologists looking for their first big break, like the owner of the orientation notebook, PW. From here,
guys, does this mean I could go make giant toys now? Eager biologists, title acquired. Time to go make big, gigantic, scary toys.
The company begins their experiments. Harley takes the new scientists to observe and study the Poppy doll that he remembered being in the storage bay from his days in the Young Geniuses program. He told them to use her as the blueprint to bring toys to life.
Oh my goodness.
Being able to exist as a doll.
I'm gonna have to play this game now.
So many people.
Everyone works diligently to try and recreate the magic of this one Poppy doll. But after 840 14 experiments, it's clear that things aren't working with simple rats.
No.
They need to try something bigger. They need to repeat what Elliot did. They need to use children. Harley delivers the note to Elliot as one of his many updates on the program. But once again, Elliot is torn. Up until this point, these experiments weren't really all that bad. It was just
Elliot is about to sell his soul to the devil to make money for the company. Calling it now.
Just a few hundred rats that suffered the consequences. But now he had a choice to make.
Calling
He'd spent his life trying to bring joy to children, to give them a home, somewhere they could grow and overcome the odds. Harley still couldn't believe this soft old man. What is more important to you, these children or the business you've spent decades building, which people rely on for their own families? Mortality is just a curse on humanity anyway. If we can figure this out, all these orphans who had suffered would never grow old or sick. They could live forever and keep bringing joy to other children for centuries to come.
Okay, I see where he's coming from with the children becoming orphanage, becoming like these experiments or whatever, and being able to live forever. But at the same time, like, this is so morbid, you know? You know what I mean?
It was not an easy decision, but this argument from Harley does sway Elliot. With that permission in hand, the senior staff of Playtime Co. set about building the Game Station, a facility designed to test the orphans' physical and mental abilities, pairing them with a specific toy, and if they were deemed ready, taken away for conversion.
They'd come for games and never come back.
As part of this process, they utilized the red smoke that they made for the catnap toy. Where previously Poppy gels had failed, gas is a much more effective way of getting the mystical powers of the poppy flower that helped bring Poppy to life into the bodies of these orphans. They install shower heads throughout the playcare to distribute the gas, but it wasn't the most effective solution. Kids could see them and what they were doing. They became wary of going to bed. An alternate solution would need to be found. However, they had other problems to deal with. Over the last few years, there had been one employee that had been causing Playtime Co. a lot of trouble. They weren't ruining their plans as such. They were just a bit of an administrative headache. That man was Rich Lovitz. Initially, he was working in the storage room, and he seemed to be on board with the general Playtime mission, appreciating the good this company did for the orphans. Sadly, though, Rich had a habit of losing his temper with management, and so he was demoted to the rejected toy room, which, as you might imagine, he took really well.
After years of being ignored,
Damn.
company actually heard all my complaints. I guess my words must have really inspired them to take action, because the next day I got demoted down here to the freak.
So he's on a villain arc as well. This is insane. No one could prepare me for what I was about to watch. If you told me that this is how insane the lore was, I would not have believed you. But at last, we are like 18 minutes into the video, and I believe you now. Kinda. This shit's wild.
Of course, Playtime Co. had to demote him again, putting him to work in construction in the caves beneath the factory. Down here, in relative solitude, he was able to recognize his shortcomings and, with the help of his new supervisor, began to improve, even to the point of getting promoted. At first, this seemed great for Playtime Co. A reformed employee. The system worked. That was until Rich continued being promoted and began learning what was really going on with the orphans. He cared for these kids. That was the one good thing he had going for him from the beginning, and so he begins flying off the handle once again. The problem was now he knew too much. He could actually cause a problem for Playtime Co. if he went to the authorities. They couldn't just fire him anymore. They needed to get rid of him. And with the Bigger Bodies initiative well underway, as well as Harley's requests for bigger subjects, they had an idea. They took Rich and used him as a guinea pig, turning him into the first semi-successful experiment 1006, which
No! That did not just happen. No.
they dubbed the prototype. Not a toy as such, more a mix of mechanical and biological parts. It lacked the ability to speak, but was able to mimic voices of others to communicate. Playtime Co. was finally seeing success and removing a problem at the same time.
He had a redemption arc just to go like that? He honestly did. I thought he was about to be like some good guy that like is working against them undercover within the company or something. Like, I don't know. I had high hopes there, and then I didn't realize that we're just gonna get rid of him and call it a day and make him an experiment. Like, I should have known better.
But Rich, now 1006, wouldn't forget what had been done to him, nor what they were doing to the orphans. He just needed to bide his time and wait for the right moment to strike. Playtime.
Wait, that means that that sounds like he still has his mentality there, though.
Continued their development of the bigger bodies, but they struggled to find the success they'd had with 1006, usually unable to reactivate their brains after surgery. That is when Harley decided to try something different. He decided to make the bigger body physically bigger, rather than just trying to match the size of the test subject. It flew in the face of all logic, but he needed to try something, and the crazy part is, it worked. They created Experiment 1160.
Who the heck is this?
And this discovery opened up a new world of possibilities for the future. At this point, several orphans are showing promise in the game station, although there was one that caught Harley's attention specifically, Quinn Navidson. He was a pretty average kid, except he had a strange obsession with removing the heads off of all of his toys. However, Harley didn't see this disposition as a weakness. It was something he could take advantage of, manipulate to get his scores higher and make him a more successful bigger body down the road. Harley spends some one-on-one time with Quinn, convincing him that he understands Quinn better than most, and asking him to just simply apply himself at the next assessment. And next time, Quinn's scores did improve in most areas, although his intelligence seemed to wane a bit, but not enough to stop the inevitable. In August 1990, Quinn became Experiment 1166. Yarnaby. He was strong.
What? What was that? What? Huh? Hold on.
Quinn became Experiment 1166.
What is
Yarnaby?
Chat, what is this? What is... Excuse me? Excuse me. What the heck is a Yarnaby? And why the heck does it have this going on? Bro, I don't think these people should be deciding toys anymore.
He was strong, agile, swift, but his intelligence still wasn't where Harley wanted it. He saw him more like a dog, which, while not ideal, could be useful for protection. The more bigger bodies they made, the more things there were that could kill him and stop his progress.
Crazy.
So Harley isolated Yarnaby, making Yarnaby loyal only to him. Around that same time, another orphan named Theodore Granville began causing some mischief in the playcare, breaking into rooms, stealing files, even stealing a grab pack. When questioned about it, he just said it was his friend that told him to do those things. The staff just assume this friend is of the imaginary persuasion, but in reality, it was very, very real. 1006 had found a way out of containment and was using Theo to help them escape. Once it had all
let's go 1006. I knew you had your mentality still. I still knew that you would do something. Oh my gosh, let's go. He's helping.
The information, 1006 and Theo made a break for it. Though, due to Theo's inexperience, he accidentally overcharges the electrified grab pack hand and electrocutes himself. At this moment, 1006 has a choice. Gain the freedom it wants or save Theo. It chooses the latter. It gives Theo over to the Playtime Co. scientists and turns itself in to be locked away once again. Now,
to whom this may concern, rumor has it that whatever it was that influenced poor Theodore, be it human or beastly in nature, as witness described it, has been apprehended in the lower dredge of the facility. Bro, shouldn't you know that that was Experiment 1006? What the heck?
There's only one way the scientists are able to save Theo, and on November 11th, 1990, the bigger body Catnap was born. Experiment 1188.
No. We did not just make a bigger version of Catnap that excretes poppy gas. We did not just make him a bigger version.
Because he was able to release the red gas just like the toy. And the kids would, hopefully, be much less suspicious of this big friendly toy than a typical shower head. Again, Playtime Co. was killing two birds with one stone. The Bigger Bodies initiative was now in full swing. Between Catnap and Yarnaby, Huggy was created. And in 1991, he was put to work as Playtime Co.'s new security measure. Though his wandering eyes were noticed by an employee who wasn't supposed to know anything. Rowan Rowan wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on and, over the course of a few months, began to figure out exactly what Playtime Co. was doing. When he threatened to leak what he'd found to the public, Harley put his bigger bodies to good use.
Now, We need to start tailoring that appetite of yours to flesh. Get me an update on the situation with Laurel Store.
That same year, another orphan, Marie Payne, began suffering from unwakable nightmares thanks to catnap's gas, leading to the latest experiment.
I can't believe like they're dealing with everything here. It's just like, yeah, make them all bigger and scarier to contain the people, to contain the orphanage. Like, that's so wild.
We know of to date. Experiment 1222, Mummy Longlegs.
Just as I thought, it couldn't get worse, man. Just as I thought. What is this? What? This is what you call a nightmare.
She was violent towards the staff, but kind towards the kids, making her the perfect guardian for the game station. And by May of 1992, the game station is in its heyday. Everything is working as planned, but one person is still causing problems. Elliot Ludwig had put a picture up in his office that one of the kids had given him of the game station and Mummy Longlegs. But when he sat there and looked at it, those decisions that had led to this point, they began to weigh heavy on his shoulders. He still felt that Harley's pursuit of innovation for the sake of it wasn't right, but the rest of the senior team seemed to be all for him, and it was hard to deny that the company was seeing success. Regardless, he knew he needed to put some kind of safety measure in place, something to keep Harley in check, just in case his worst fears came true. So he promoted...
How are you going to keep Harley in check? Sir Elliot, I think you are a little late, and I think if we want to keep him in check, we should have kept him in check a few experiments earlier. I don't know. I don't know about y'all over here in chat right now, but I feel like the time to keep him in check has passed.
Scientist and Young Geniuses graduate, Dr. Bruno White, to become Harley's superior. Once Harley found out, he could think of this as nothing more than another betrayal from Elliot. And this time, he'd had enough. Elliot was too soft to keep things moving forward. He needed to be got rid of, just like every other problem employee they'd faced. One day, both the staff and the public were informed that Elliot Ludwig had passed away. But Harley Sawyer was the only one who knew the truth about what happened.
He did it. He did it. He said, if you're dead, you can't mess with me anymore. He did it.
Thanks to Dr. White's promotion, Harley's involvement in things slowly became less and less, leading Harley to become more and more frustrated and driving him more and more insane, until one day he decided to take matters into his own hands. During a guided tour of the factory in 1993, fires break out in the theater, causing casualties all across the facility. Obviously, Leif Pierre is furious. Now he has to clean up the mess, taking care of any potential witnesses. This is not the kind of publicity Playtime needed. He brings back their private investigator Jared to figure out who is to blame, and true to his word, he gets them an answer.
Dr. Harley Sawyer.
After spouting rhetoric about one bad day and being betrayed by Elliot all of those years ago, Harley had finally gone full Joker and set the theater ablaze.
Bro, someone put Harley in check. Someone control this man.
Everyone in the flames that he was working so hard to save them all from with his bigger bodies initiative. As Leith had suggested, Harley needed to be punished, but he can't justify the usual methods. Harley is an undeniable genius, and it would be a shame to lose such a brilliant mind when they definitely still needed him. The bigger bodies, while alive, were temperamental and hard to control. They needed to keep perfecting the process. This also meant turning Harley into a bigger body wasn't an option either, as he too would likely lose his mind. And that was when it hit them. Instead of turning Harley into a bigger body, why not turn Harley into a digital consciousness? They could focus all their attention on keeping his mind alive without the need for a working body. That way, Harley could still help them and guide.
I feel like, I don't know about y'all, I feel like this is a disaster waiting to happen. You're putting him in control of having access to like everything digital. I don't know.
scientific process, but he couldn't physically cause any problems. It was perfect. By 1994, this plan is underway. The party line is that Harley is just out, maybe on a sabbatical or something. And in 1995, the new Playtime automated companion is up and running, ready to meet with scientists like PW. The system would end up being shut down after May of that year, but regardless, it was another success for Playtime Co. However, as we've seen time and time again, pride cometh before the fall. And this next fall would be the biggest Playtime had ever seen. Behind the scenes, while Playtime Co. had been dealing with Harley, 1006 had been plotting. They'd been gathering all the toys together and promising them the thing they all wanted.
Bro, he just assembled the Avengers in the background. He probably promised them freedom. He assembled them all. And now I'm gonna have to go play Poppy Playtime. Oh my gosh.
Freedom. They formulated a plan to take back the factory from Playtime and kill all those who'd helped turn them into monsters. They called it the Hour of Joy. And on...
I'm sorry for laughing. I'm sorry for laughing. I'm sorry. They call no. They did not just call that the Hour of Joy. Their plot is to murder everyone here, and they're calling it the Hour of Joy. Like, they did not. That's so... Oh my god. That's so messed up.
August 8th, 1995, they executed that plan. They attacked everyone. Scientists, tour guides, construction workers. It didn't matter. They were all responsible. They all needed to die. The toys dragged the bodies in.
Okay, I understand why, right? Like, they've been, you know, put through all these experiments. They were humans. They were experimented on. Like, I understand why they would do such a thing past to their breaking point, right? It's just wild that that's what they called it.
Into the depths and slowly consume them to satiate their hunger. Only a small few managed to escape the carnage, Leith Pierre being one of them. Despite the insane loss the company was facing, he kept insisting Playtime Co. continue their work. He began recruitment efforts for a resource extraction team, people that would go back into Playtime Co. and collect the parts they needed to keep making bigger.
And this is the game. Oh, so you're working for the initiative to go collect parts. And then you're fighting against these people who want you dead. Or fighting against these toys, I guess.
Bodies. But eventually, the rising pressure from the public over the mysterious disappearance of the staff, their friends and family, was too much for even Leith to handle. And he shut down the factory for good. Nearly a decade passed, and the Playtime Co. factory, as well as all that happened there, had largely been forgotten. The world had simply moved on. But in 2002, deep in the bowels of the factory, something or someone was coming back online.
This shit wild.
Harley had awoken from his mysterious slumber. Ironically, just as he'd always stated, his conversion had actually saved him from death.
This is what I was saying. You remember what I was saying? I think putting Harley as a digital conscious would be a bad idea. He is awoken. He is awake. He is awake now. This is bad.
Unlike his former colleagues, he realized the opportunity he had. There was no one left to stop him. His plans could continue. He could save the rest of humanity from their mortal coil and convert them all into living, eternal toys. So he began hacking into the rest of Playtime Co.'s systems, taking control of all communications that were coming in and out of the factory. His plan would come to fruition. At the same time, the bigger bodies also remained in the factory, waiting for the prototype to save them as promised, but food supplies were running short. Some of them began to lose their faith that salvation would ever come. Dog Day was one such toy, and 1006 quickly made an example of him. This type of threat, however, wouldn't work forever, and 1006 knew that. It needed to make progress. It was still trying to create its perfect body, but it just didn't have the know-how. Rich was just a simple construction worker. Sure, he could do some cool things with tech, but biology was a whole other ballgame. It needed help. So in 2005, it writes a note saying that the employees that went missing were actually still in the factory, waiting to be rescued. And it sends it to the only person that's not only around to hear it, but would actually care enough to make the trip. The player character, PW. PW didn't show up for work on August 8th, 1995. They were still alive, and more importantly, they actually cared about their fellow employees. If there was a chance their colleagues were still around, they needed to help them. Now, as a former employee, they knew their way around the factory. They knew where this
I really, or I guess the main player, PW out here, really went on a saving mission. They said, let me go save y'all.
Flower was that they'd been pointed to. They just had to get
Wild.
there, while also trying to avoid an unpleasant reunion with one of the many bigger bodies they'd helped create. Huggy Wuggy. PW finds Poppy behind the flower.
I think I'd be terrified if I had to play this game. I would not. No. Like, this is gonna be nightmares already. Nah.
In the same room she always was. Although there are now messages around the room warning them
Go
not
back,
to trust
run.
her. Regardless, once they open the case, Poppy agrees to help PW escape. See, she's not that bad at all. Only Mummy then shows up and kidnaps Poppy. After beating all of Mummy's games, PW returns to Poppy and takes her to the train. Only for Poppy to now change her mind and stop PW from leaving.
I'm sorry. I can't let you leave.
They really should have trusted the signs. The train crashes in front of the playcare, and with some surprising help from Poppy, Kissy Missy, and their ally Ollie, who may or may not be the prototype mimicking a child's voice to trick us, PW makes their way through the playcare. Together, they defeat Catnap and begin the long trip down into Playtime's prison. But Kissy doesn't make the trip. She is killed by something on their way down.
She's killed by
all
something.
Of this time,
Guys, I'm never watching another Geek Theory video ever again. Ever.
Harley has been watching through the security cameras, making his way down to the prison just a bit ahead of them to reunite with Yarnaby and lay whatever traps he has in store for us down in the depths, along with the nightmare critters, Pianosaurus, and a toy made from Play-Doh, Doughy the Dough Man. And that, loyal theorists, is the entire timeline of Poppy Playtime so far. Boy, this franchise is getting big. This is probably the last time I'll be able.
All right, chat. If you want me to play Poppy Playtime, get this video to 2,000 likes here on YouTube. I will play Poppy Play. I will play it. I will play Poppy Playtime. If you guys get 2,000 likes in this video, I will play it. That is my goal to y'all. So like the video if you liked it.
Do an entire timeline in one video. I mean, look at that runtime. Though I have to say it is refreshing that outside of a few bits of connective tissue, most of what we've talked about today are either things Mob has told us directly, or we have a lot of evidence to support. The only real details that are super speculative are things like when the Young Geniuses program started, or why Elliot agreed to start using children.
And I mean, I'm probably when Chapter 4 released, they probably dove deeper into this, and it's unfinished, right?
The experiments. We said that the Young Geniuses program started in the 60s, but it could very well be the 50s based on the logo. Maybe they were even the ones that helped make the first Poppy dolls. But so long as Harley joins the company early, leaves, and then comes back to cause a bunch of problems, it doesn't really matter which decade it takes place. The same thing goes for Elliot's change of heart towards the orphans. We've got no evidence saying why he made the decisions he did. We may discover his reasoning in the future. It's just not going to change the order of events because we have set dates of when things have to happen. But there you have it, friends. Everything you could possibly need to know going into Chapter 4. And I don't know about you, but now I'm even more excited to see where all this goes. Who will our allies be? What is Harley's big plan? Will I have to rethink the identity of the prototype for a third time? I'm sure all will be revealed in a few weeks. In the meantime, remember, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching.
Game theory.
World premiere on
All right, that was
Game
pretty
Theory.
solid. That was pretty solid. That was pretty solid. I enjoy Poppy Playtime, and I hope you guys enjoyed Poppy Playtime with me. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment down a cat emoji for Catnap, the crazy freaking toy that we got in this. Do that. Don't do that. I can't control what you do. Have a fantastic day, though, and I will catch you guys all on the flip side. And remember to hit that like button. 2,000 likes, and we will be playing Poppy Playtime. So hit that like button if you want to see my playthrough. All right, goodbye, everyone.